everyone, and once again, welcome to our weekly SonRise Project call, where it's always a safe space and filled with love and compassion and our mutual desire to heal, starting with ourselves and our families. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I am so excited to have with us this morning a very special guest and a very dear friend of mine who has helped transform my life. And I say that so intentionally, and I will share more about that in just a few minutes. Let me tell you who we have. We have Tina Lifford here as our special guest this morning. Tina is a Hollywood veteran who has played over 100 characters in her long-standing career, including most notably the vivacious Aunt Vi on the critically acclaimed television drama Queen Sugar, which was on the Oprah Winfrey Network. Tina has starred opposite Hollywood greats, including Clint Eastwood, Jennifer Lopez, Bruce Willis, among hundreds more. Outside of acting, Tina is the author of my all-time favorite book, The Little Book of Big Lies. Many of you, I have gifted that book or told you about the book. The Little Book of Big Lies was released by HarperCollins and chosen by Forbes.com as a must-read. And I believe that very deeply as well. Tina is a visionary thought leader in the field of inner fitness, and that's what we'll be talking about this morning. What is inner fitness all about? She is the strategist and architect behind the Inner Fitness Project, and she brings deep wisdom, personal experience, and respect for the human condition, allowing her to engage people in the process of internal transformation, healing, and resilience building. And again, I am a living witness to that. As an author and speaker, Tina fosters the idea that we can all live well and thrive. Her new book, which is coming out in March of 2025, is titled The Inner Fitness Revolution, a roadmap to your freedom and joy. Two words that are extraordinarily important to me. So I want to first say thank you for being here so early, Tina. I know it's 6 a.m. out there. Thank you for being here and welcome.
I would get up for you and your community even earlier. So I'm happy to
Oh,
be here. I'm happy that we get to transition into yet another journey around the sun together.
yes. Let's talk about that. So, with your big, beautiful smile. So, we have just a few more days of 2024. And I want to start by talking about you and how your journey began, your journey into inner fitness. How did it get started? And what was the impetus of your first book, which that book really has changed my life?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a story that I actually hold dear to my heart, and with every year it becomes even more uh, valued by me.
Mhm.
I come to inner fitness because I yearned to be an actress.
Mm,
And when I say that I yearned to be an actress, I came here, knew in the second grade that I wanted to be an actress. And in
mm,
the fifth grade, had a traumatic experience on stage in front of the entire student body
mm,
during a talent show. And in the talent show, I was scheduled to sing
mm,
uh, at about 9 o'clock in the morning. In gym class that day, they handed out the roster, for the order of people
mhm,
performing in the talent show later in that day. And when I took a look at that roster and my name was number one,
mm,
for some reason I went, and that, if everyone can just experience, or think about a time when you've gone, you know, that
mhm,
gasp, that doubt, that
mm,
fear, that however you want to label it, I took it in and I never let it go.
Mm,
And so I walked through school the rest of the day with that that moment of fear inside of me.
yeah.
And when it came time to get on the stage, let's say, 5 hours later, I
Hmm.
stepped on that stage. And this is all, unbeknownst to me. I stepped on that stage with all of that fear. So
Mm,
I opened my mouth. I was singing Old John Henry. I got out Old John Henry, and then I never said another word.
wow.
And even as I tell you that story right this moment, I can feel a little bit of tension in my heart.
Yes.
And I want to mention that little bit of tension that is in my heart because we can think about our moments of fear, our um, moments of being sort of overtaken, sort of like the way you might think about a physical injury. You know,
Mm,
I
mm,
I used to play tennis, and I was good at it and loved it, and I twisted my ankle one day,
mm,
and that twist wound up being the reason years later that I had to stop playing tennis.
mm,
That twist took years to heal. I mean, like truly heal. And it is an area of sensitivity. So if
mm,
I, happen to step wrong and twist it again, then that I have to go through the process of healing it. It's much faster. It's I know what to do, so on and so forth. But the vulnerability in that area is present.
mm,
And we all walk with a level of where you have physical vulnerability. We also have a physiological, a psychological sort of vulnerability. And it is just so important to know that that vulnerability does not mean you're broken, does not mean that it has to distort your life. It simply becomes this place of awareness that,
exactly.
when the weather gets cold, it might just, ache a little. But
Mhm.
when you know what to do, which is why inner fitness became my passion,
Mm,
I had to figure out what to do. I had to come to understand myself at a level so deep that I could be with what was uncomfortable, not
mm.
judge myself, and be able to navigate through it in a way that empowered me.
You said so many things there because most of us um, don't are not equipped to really look at ourselves in a way that opens us up to possibility and change because we're so wired, to do certain things based on what society tells us it should be, what we should look like, maybe not look like, but what we should have, the things, all these things.
Look like too. Look
Yeah,
like
that's true. Right. All of that, all of that. And you said something about like twisting your ankle and having to go through that painful journey. Can you share more about the going through the painful journey and how important it is to really work through those painful pieces to get to the other side?
Yeah, yeah. I actually, without knowing, I think it's a really great analogy, right?
Mhm.
Some people, when the weather is bad, they have a particular ache in their body, or whatever. When it happens in the physical body, we have an understanding of it and we have an acceptance of it. And
That's
it might drive you to the cabinet to get a pill, an aspirin
mm-hmm.
or something like that. But we don't stop and assign to ourselves that this ache is going to be with us the rest of our lives. And it means we can't do this, we can't do that, we can't do whatever. I
Right.
mean, you might not play tennis the way that I was playing tennis,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't distort your sense of self, right?
Yeah.
And within that is because we accept, we know what happened. I know that I twisted my ankle. We know what we want to do with our lives, and we accept that sometimes, if the weather's bad or for whatever the reason, that physical ache, that physical challenge might show up.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to our insides,
Mm-hmm.
we don't give ourselves the same sort of understanding around it.
That's
It
right.
becomes this secret. It becomes this judgment of self.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes a sort of forever state, you
That,
know, whether it's present or not, it's always present. And there's just a lot of judgment around it,
that's right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what if we take the analogy of the ankle, what we get to start to do with our lives, which is what inner fitness is really all about. Inner fitness is, if I break it down, it's really about three components.
Mm-hmm.
It's about awareness,
Mm-hmm.
being aware of where you are in all ways, aware of where you are, aware of where you want to be, aware of the dis-ease, just aware.
Mm-hmm.
And then with that awareness, you begin to just tell yourself a deeper truth.
Mm-hmm.
When we tell ourselves a deeper truth, when we acknowledge exactly where we are, that's telling ourselves the truth. Oh, I've got this fear that is happening right this moment.
Mm-hmm.
I've got this sense of doom. I feel like, this is never going to change. I just want to run away. Literally, naming where you are brings an element of truth. Now, it's not
Yeah.
the truth about you, it's the truth that you are in this moment.
Yes.
And the difference is that when you acknowledge where you are,
Mm-hmm.
then there's no resistance to that truth. And now you are internally free enough to think about where you want to go.
And the possibility for where you want to be,
That's
right?
exactly right. That
Mm-hmm.
anytime
Mm-hmm.
you are thinking about where you want to go, you are thinking about what's possible,
Right. Right.
right?
Right. Can you
Right?
shop to that point? Can you talk about in your first book, you have this whole notion about, and you just touched on it a little bit here, that one of the lies is that some things last forever.
Yeah,
I'd love for you to just share a little bit more. That was one of the first lies in the book, is that things last forever.
yeah, yeah. And it's so crazy because again, we we don't here's a crazy analogy, right?
Mhm,
So as a parent, when your child is falling down, learning to walk,
mhm,
right? And the baby is crawling and then attempts to stand and falls down.
Mhm.
There's not a parent on the planet, I think, that goes, "Oh my God, my baby's never going to be able to walk."
Right.
You
Exactly.
know,
Yeah.
or when the baby falls down, they
Mhm.
don't go, "Oh my God, my baby fell," and it's
Mhm.
forever.
Mhm.
No, it is the process of getting to the goal, to the vision, to
Right.
what's possible, right?
Right. Right.
But because we have so little information about how to navigate, how to crawl emotionally so that we can walk, run, and fly, right?
Mhm.
And because there's so much sensitivity, usually shame, usually fear
Guilt.
around,
Guilt.
our emotional
Mhm.
stuff,
Yeah.
and it feels so uncomfortable, and we have been taught to run
That's right.
instead of be present with the fear, that we literally tell ourselves the lie that
That's
this thing is going to be the way it is, to the degree that it handicaps us forever.
forever.
And it's a lie.
It's a lie because of the next part, which is really profound for me. The simple notion that you share, which is the up until now framework.
Yeah.
So please share that because that has changed my entire life.
Yeah, it's so good. And I learned it in a spiritual psychology program that I took. And up until now,
Mm,
it
mm.
it sobers us. It makes us present, and it tells us up until now, this is how things have been.
Yes.
And just if it's got two parts to it, up until now and from this point forward. But the up until now
Mhm.
makes us present.
That's
It's
right.
like, okay, this is how I have thought. This is how I have reacted.
That's
This
right.
is how I have seen myself up
Mm,
till now. But that simple up until now gives us all the room for
that's right.
how it can be going forward. And
Yes.
so, up until now, I've had this reaction. Up until now, I have felt, incapable, not good enough, whatever. But from this point forward, it can
Yes.
change for the better.
It can change for the better. And I can choose to be human and happy. And that, for most of us on this call, we make a different choice for many, 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 many years until
Yeah.
we finally say, okay, I'm choosing me or I'm choosing happy.
In what you just said, Kelly, it's so beautiful because it's like we're choosing that we are broken. We're choosing that we're not good enough, and that can, that that's true. We're choosing
Right. To believe
that
that.
not good enough is true.
Right. 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 And so many times we're stuck in that space. And you call it the surviving self, that
Yeah,
surviving space,
yeah,
which, when I was touching on your bio earlier and sharing how you help people learn to create thriving lives versus surviving lives. And I really want you to share what that really looks like because I think Sunrise Project was born in a space where I was absolutely in that survival mode. And many of us who have children where we have learned to transform those relationships. It has been in the surviving space versus this new space. So can you share about that? Because I think from up until now and from this point forward is one massively huge concept that
yeah,
has changed my life, and the surviving self versus the thriving self. If you can
yeah,
talk about that, please, is
yeah,
also powerful.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, most of us, when we look in the mirror, uh, we see whoever you see.
Mhm, mhm,
and even becoming aware of what you see is critical.
mhm,
It's
mhm,
powerful
mhm,
because if you look in the mirror and you see things that you don't like, things that you judge, things that you don't trust, so
mhm,
on and so forth, if you aren't aware that you are doing that to yourself,
mhm,
then you are carrying that lens into every day of your life.
mhm,
And so the the understanding that the physical being
mhm.
is a part of you, but it is not the most critical part of you.
Right.
It's the
Mhm.
inner self.
That's
And
right.
your inner self is comprised of your thoughts, your feelings, and your beliefs because they drive everything.
Yes.
And nobody gets to see those. You are acting and reacting. We all are acting and reacting based upon the narrative that is running through our mind
That's
and
right.
the feelings that we are holding about ourselves, and therefore the lens about how we feel about life and others.
Mhm, mhm,
And silently, all of that stuff is stacking up on top of itself, creating our reactions.
mhm.
And so when you begin to understand that literally all the power in the world that we need to navigate our lives comes from inside. And now you take a look on the inside, and
Right.
what you will discover is that you're not this monolithic thing. You
Mhm,
actually have a range to you. There are times when you are in worry, doubt, and fear. There are
mhm,
times when you are feeling hopeful and, you know, um, at peace or full of joy or a
mhm,
sense of possibility, having empathy. And there are times when you feel elevated beyond the duality of life, the good or bad. You feel sort of seated in God or seated in a higher notion and idea, or you're
mhm.
just at peace in
Yes.
in the presence of life and living.
Mhm,
And we all have that range to us.
mhm.
But most people are most aware of the surviving self, the
Yes.
worry, doubt, and fear, the being at war, the something to prove. If you are proving, manipulating, blaming, protecting, and judging, it's
Mm.
a really sort of shorthand way to say, I'm in my surviving self,
Mhm. Or
right?
worrying, like you said, the worrying
Yeah,
about
the
the job or the bills or all of that. Mhm,
I say, because I can so relate to this image, and you all can identify an image that works for you. But for me, being in the surviving self, it has an energy to it, it
mhm,
has an energy to it. You're at war, you gotta get there, and it's a little bit
mhm.
like being in the deep end of a pool, and feeling like you're drowning.
Treading water,
That's
treading water.
exactly
Mhm,
treading water, or feeling like, you're fighting with the surface of the water because you
mhm,
feel like if you
mhm.
don't just flail your arms, you're gonna
Yeah,
go under.
yeah.
Some version of that energy
Mhm.
represents the surviving self.
Yes.
And most people are spending most of their days in the surviving self. And this
That's right.
is a statistic that I freaking love because I think it brings what I've just said to light in a way
Mhm,
that we can all see.
mhm.
So they say that we humans think somewhere between 12,000 and 60,000 thoughts a day.
Mm-hmm.
80% of that thinking, 80% of that thinking is negative.
Mm,
95% of that thinking is repetitive.
wow.
So,
That's massive. Negative and repetitive. That does not sound good.
right? And if you think about it, I mean, come on, Kelly. How
Yes.
often is there some
Yeah.
negative,
I, uh-huh.
right?
Yep. Oh, yes.
Yes, and this is just the
Yes.
brain. This isn't,
Yes.
us personally. This is our brains. This is how our brain is working. So we're negative and then we're
Mm,
repetitive. It's
that's right.
like, how do we get anything freaking done?
That's right.
Right? And so
Mhm.
when they talk about, being angry and pissed off, and it looks like she's got an attitude and so on, it's true.
That's right.
It's
Uh-huh.
true.
It's true. Uh-huh.
But
I was gonna
it,
say, but here it comes.
but
Uh-huh.
if you think about it in terms of thirds, a third is the surviving self, and that is based upon the way the brain had to develop over the last 500 million years.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know when the brain adapted and consciousness became part of our physiological being. But before consciousness, it was just like reacting, like you see a lizard
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
a bug. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's the nervous system that we're working with, right?
Right. Right.
And then consciousness happened. And with consciousness, we adapted the ability to have self-agency, to self-observe, to see, and then choose, and to have what they call executive decision-making
Mm-hmm.
capabilities, which means
Mm-hmm.
I can. I can do this. I can think this. I can change. I can.
Right.
And thriving is our I can ability.
Yes. Yes.
I can look at where I am and I can change.
Yeah.
And we start to cultivate. Literally, it sounds simple, and it is.
It is. That's what's deep. It really is. It takes work and it takes time, but it's like anything else. It's like brushing your teeth. It's like, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I
No,
want
no,
to
no,
share
no.
how important that concept is, that it sounds simple and it's not necessarily simple, but it's possible if we make a conscious choice to work on it. You know what I mean? And if we're blessed to work with, they've been working with you for 3 years as like a life coach, I guess is what I would call it. And you have helped me make different choices. And it is, and I see I'm such a living witness to the transformative power of inner fitness and of the principles, those very simple principles that are in your book, the first book. And I just want to share that as also like a moment of gratitude because I see like such a massive change from where I was before to today.
Kelly, working with you has been joyous because, and I think that you are a great person to speak to the simplicity, even though it's odd to talk about the simplicity of hard work, right? I
Right.
mean, it's like both are true. And,
Both.
as we have worked together week after week, I've admired what I have seen you do. And what I have seen you do is take note, literally taking notes
Like, no.
of
Mhm.
what has impacted your consciousness, which means taking something that has been said or realized, and
Mhm.
in that moment, seeing that it has a level of truth that is freeing.
Yes.
And then using that thing that you have written as part of your day, your
Mm.
thinking,
That's
your
right.
your contemplation. And in that way, it is simple.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
I right?
It is because the principles of, and especially just thinking about dealing with Kyle and Chris, my children, and Kyle was the reason SonRise was started. But even one of the principles of choosing a self-empowering response in any situation is very different than where I was before. And choosing to how to interact is
Yeah.
very different than previous Kelli.
If I were to guess about, and then you can tell me, what is accurate for you and
Mhm.
what isn't, so that um, the audience can really see what your journey was.
Mhm.
But um, my experience of you is that you would well, in the beginning, you didn't you didn't think in terms of, you thought in terms of shoulds
Yes,
versus what's possible.
that absolutely. Hmm.
And shoulds belonged to how you wanted to be seen,
Hmm.
how you wanted the world to see, I say
Yeah.
you, it's
And
it's
my
all of us.
family. And
It's
my
all of,
family.
yeah. See
Right.
you, see the family,
Mm-hmm.
there was
Mm-hmm.
this standard that had been handed to you by,
Mm-hmm.
going to an HBCU, that had been handed to you by the idea of being successful, that had been handed to you by the idea of what success and accomplishment looked like. And so all of those external ideas were
Mm-hmm.
shaping who Kelli was, without Kelli actually saying, um, I heard I'm in a situation and it feels awful, and
Right.
I'm just running from here to there. It's like without ever stopping to acknowledge the person inside or underneath all of those expectations and tropes and
Mm-hmm.
ideas.
That's right.
And the
Absolutely.
moment you had the moment you took the time,
Mm-hmm.
you started from over here, I saw that you started to discover or rediscover a
Mm-hmm.
Kelli that had been lost.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And it was through the questions. So you ask questions. I'm sharing this for the group because um, the work Tina does with Inner Fitness, the Inner Fitness Project, it's available to everybody. And the book is available. I strongly recommend it. The first book, the second one's coming in March, but the tools and the conversations are available. Like I love, you ask me tough questions. You've asked me many times, are you telling the truth right now? And I look at you like, what? Or, what do you say? But it helps to really start peeling back the layers and to get to that thriving self, which is really incredible and powerful. Uh,
Yeah.
Can I
Go
ask a
ahead.
question too? When our very first session, which was almost 3 years ago, you asked, what were my 3 words? And so, one, I want to ask why you asked that question, because you said something to the effect of if you could envision your life in 3 words, or what do you want? I want to ask the people on the call for their 3 words. Like, what would that be? And why is that? Like, why did you ask the question? Why is that so important? I know my 3 words. I'm very clear on them.
Yeah.
But can you share more on that three
Yeah,
words?
yeah. I think it's a fantastic question on your part. Um, so again, when we are in survival mode, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
First off, we're not thinking about it as survival mode. If
mm-hmm.
we were thinking about it as survival mode, we probably would adjust ourselves because who wants to feel like they are always in survival, right?
Right, exactly.
But it is just it's so deeply ingrained in us to be
Mm-hmm,
in
mm-hmm,
survival just because of evolution.
mm-hmm,
So the most important thing in order to begin to cultivate a thriving life,
mm-hmm.
the most important thing that we can do is to get to a sense of possibility.
Yes,
If we let ourselves be present to what we want,
that's it.
right? And not, I mean, what we want, not what our ideas want, not
Right.
what our conditioning wants. If you can get to a sense of what you want, just thinking about that, just the smallest amount of time, the
Mm.
shortest amount of time thinking about what I want. Well, I want to, I want to go to More Than Waffles for breakfast. It puts you in a forward motion. It
Mm-hmm.
has you present with where you are and where you want to go.
Yes.
It's a simple thing, but that moves you into the territory of thriving inside of yourself. So
Mm-hmm.
anytime you can think about what you want, who you want to become,
Right.
how you want to respond, in difficult circumstances going
Yes.
forward. You are
Yes.
leaving room, you're leaving space
Yes.
that is otherwise taken up by the surviving self.
Mm.
And so the Inner Fitness Project and the 1 hour at a time exercises that we do
Mm.
is really just about making space
That's right.
that is space that we take away from the surviving self so that the thriving and the infinite can have more room. It's already there.
Right.
We just need more connection and room with the part of us that is born to thrive and the part
Mm.
that is so connected to something greater that
Yeah.
we can't be separated from it.
Right. Right. And that's what a big part of your 14 practices are about, because I experienced that as well with like a sister circle group. And it's part of your new book. And
Yeah.
so I literally carry them with me. I typed them up. I carry them with me and I focus on the ones where I need to focus on. And but they are so helpful. So I'd love for you to talk a little bit about, oh, and we're almost out of time. I can't believe it. But can you share your new book? And I'm going to put the links to the current book that's out, which I highly recommend. It's also on Audible. And then the new book is coming out in March. Can you share about that and the 14
Okay, so
practices?
so you want me to show?
Yes, lift them up, please. The
Okay,
current
so
book.
so this is the first book. And the the power in this book
Yes.
is discovering that so much of how we see ourselves and how we are processing our world is based upon lies that we tell ourselves about ourselves.
That's right.
I'm not good enough, this can't change. I'm broken because this thing happened, just someone said something nasty and unkind some time ago, and that is shaping, and we've been carrying that, and it has been shaping our lives unconsciously. Those are all lies.
Yeah.
And this book shows you how to begin to debunk them and
Yeah.
dismantle.
And I put the link in the chat on Amazon. It's the best $12 investment of your life because it's now on paperback.
Yeah. And this book, I truly am excited about
Yes.
this book because in this book, there are three powerful uh, concepts, principles that are so easy to embrace. And you have not seen them in any other self-help book. But it really, like the 7 laws of self that are in this book, it really tells you how you should be honoring we should be honoring ourselves. We are holy ground. And to honor ourselves is to make room for that thriving self. To
Mhm.
understand the 3 selves is to make room for that thriving self. And once you are honoring self, you want to create more space for thriving. And so the 14 practices are a way to create that space, to impact how you have been thinking up until now, so
Mhm.
that that shift creates the space that lets thriving happen. So I'd
So
love to do this.
exciting.
I'd love to do this. And we may not, you'll tell me if this works. So if if anyone just chooses a number between 1 and 14, and you put it in the chat really quickly, the first one that you see, Kelli, you tell me what number it is, and
Okay. 11. 11.
okay. 11. 11 is,
That's the first thing I
I
saw.
tell myself the truth. What happened, how I feel,
Mm.
the story I tell myself, and what's possible. And
Mhm.
what is so powerful about practice number 11 is that most people are caught in a
Yes,
story that isn't true.
that's right.
And if you take the moment and break down the story, what happened? What happened is my father or someone said X, Y, and Z. You can't do this. What
Hmm.
I heard was, I'm not capable. What I heard is, I'm not worthy.
Hmm.
What I tell myself is that, I'm stupid and I'll never be able to,
Hmm.
right? But the most important part of telling ourselves the truth is to talk about what's possible,
That's right.
because none of that stuff, up until now, that stuff has controlled us.
Yes.
From this point forward, the
Mm.
truth is, I can, and you can fill in the blank.
Right.
I am capable. It
Yeah,
is possible for me to move from where I have been to where I want to be.
that's right.
I have innate can ability. I can ability.
Yeah. Yes.
I am born with self-agency. The first law, the 7 laws of self is, I am innately purposeful
Absolutely.
and worthy. So when you take the truth and you match it up to the lie, you can't help but get to a sense of possibility. Oh, I
That's
don't
right.
have to do that anymore. oh, up until now,
Yes,
I have told myself that I can't.
right.
From this point forward, I can think about what's possible.
Yes. And create
That,
it and create it.
yes,
Mhm,
thinking about it
mhm,
is the first step to making room for it. And then the more you think about it and put action
mhm.
behind your growing sense of self, you are creating with your thoughts.
You're creating
Conscious.
thoughts so deep. Yes. Yes. Because everything starts there. And
The troubles, you have been creating the troubles
yes,
over and over and over again because you hold the
yes,
trouble in the
yes,
thoughts and the feelings
yes,
and the
yes,
beliefs
yes,
that they create.
yes. So what
So
I
what
love about,
happens,
oh, go
right?
ahead.
It's not, so what happens if we just change the thoughts and the feelings?
Exactly. And open up ourselves to change because we have to, that's the key. How do we change? When we change ourselves, everything around us changes.
You
Whether
know,
it's our relationships, our children, everything, when we change ourselves first, it's a different mind-blowing experience.
you opened with the serenity prayer.
Yes,
And
I wear it on my
it,
neck.
yes.
Hmm.
And what is, I mean, it's a
Mm,
beautiful prayer. It's so empowering. And it says the things that we cannot change, but the things that we cannot change are so few in number,
right.
right? And the idea that we can change is
Hmm.
so freaking empowering.
Yes.
And to literally ask yourself, if you want to dip your
Mm,
toe into inner fitness, literally today, this week, this year, stop yourself when you are saying, well, this is how it should be done, or that's how it's been, or
yeah.
whatever, and use that up until now. Okay, so up until now, it's been that way. But how might it change from this point forward? You
Right.
don't even have to know.
Absolutely.
You don't even
Absolutely.
have to know what to do. You
That's
just
right.
have to be open
Open.
to the idea that
Hmm.
change is possible.
That's it.
How might this change? Even if you don't believe that it's possible, even if you have suffered
Mm,
with it for so long, you can go, well, how might this change?
hmm.
And see what that feels like inside your body.
And it opens with wanting the change. We have to want the change, and then there will be change. We have to want to be happy, and we can be happy, but we have to make a conscious choice. I remember, I'll say one example around my divorce this past year. And I remember talking with you, and I remember saying, oh God, really, this is going to be terrible. And something to that. And you said, why does it have to be terrible? Couldn't it be positive and easy? And it was like such a mind-blowing, simple question that you asked. And that was a choice to go into it in a way that was compassionate and caring and positive. And it was. It was like, wow. And it was a choice though, versus what I always thought it would be.
Yeah.
So
And
I
imagine doing that in the most
everywhere.
challenging area of your life.
That was, yeah. And then working through that process, like you talked about twisting your ankle earlier, that painful healing process, because it is painful to go through that. And, but getting to the other side is really liberating.
I wish I could, your smile, I wish that the smile that just lights up your face. I mean, it just lights you up, Kelli. And that
Mm,
smile is earned,
yeah.
from your wanting to change. You
Yes.
wanted more. And
Yes.
from wanting more,
Mm,
that smile has reemerged because, you know, I
Reemerge.
believe that you had that joy in you and
Yes.
then got it got dimmed.
100% by a host of external factors, of which I chose, right? Because
Yes,
I chose them. It's
that's
not a
right.
victim here. No
That's
victim
right.
mentality. I made choices my entire life. And so
And
now
you
it's different.
practice ways to keep those choices in
Uh-huh.
place.
That's right. And to put the happy face on. All of the things. So I love this and I can't believe we've been chatting this whole time. I do want to open up the floor for if anyone has any questions for Tina this morning. You can hit *6 if you're on your phone or hit the mute button if you're on your computer. But please, we have Tina here. She's incredible. Any questions or thoughts for Tina while we have her?
Or any disbelief. If I've
Mm,
said something that you want to
mhm.
challenge, please.
Someone has their phone up, their hand up, please. D.
Hey Kelly, I'm getting text messages about how Tina can coach more people, and I still receive the emails about your Phoenix Rising project. So, can you talk about that and maybe we can help people, like we can announce this all at once instead of people reaching
Yeah,
out individually, because we did that last year, and I think that would be a great way to answer all these questions that I'm getting on my
that's
cell phone.
wonderful. And can I just say something before Tina responds? We are creating something. So Phoenix Rising, amazing. Please talk about that. But, and also what I was thinking about was what if we create a sunrise session where, there's a specialized group where we do a circle like what we did before with people from this village. But there are a host of programs if you want to talk about them, Tina, feel
Well,
free.
I think that creating a circle within Sunrise or circles within Sunrise would be so incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
And the 14 practices will make all the difference. Um, Phoenix Rising is our annual program. It starts February the 1st, goes 5 Saturdays, 2 hours each Saturday. And this year's theme is Thrive No Matter What.
Hmm.
And it's sort of like an incubator where you come together and over those 5 weeks, we together um, begin to explore
Hmm.
that gets in the way of thriving in a way that week to week you walk away with not just tools but a vision about your life that is
Hmm.
calling you forward, much like for you, Kelly, you know, you coming in knowing that change was necessary, just not necessarily knowing where to start.
Hmm.
Phoenix Rising takes you from whatever the mindset is into a more clear and empowered vision. And then from the vision, you begin to understand what is necessary for you, specific to you. No matter how many people are in the space, the work is done in such a way that you are choosing what is specific to you and your life, and how you take and build upon the vision in whatever direction so that you have the experience of working with yourself in a way that causes impact and change.
Love it.
And we do that for the first 4 weeks, and then the fifth week is like our practicum where you wind up being able to articulate for yourself what your program is
Hmm.
for yourself for,
Yes.
for the coming year.
So that's Phoenix Rising. That's one program. Tina also does a 30-day to inner fitness journey experience with the workbook. I'm working through mine right now. And she does, I'm not sure if you still are taking additional coaching clients because that's what's been powerful for me personally as well, in addition to all the other things. And I don't know if I put you on the spot, but I did
No,
hear
well,
about that.
no, it's the coaching is available, but it is coaching with me, there are just so many slots.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
You're
of
busy. And
hmm?
you're busy and have a
Right.
ton of projects, and you are an actress at the end of the day. So
Yeah,
you're, constantly working, which is a
yeah, yeah,
blessing.
yeah, yeah.
But I want to just say again, there are tons of programs. We'll make sure we get them all out to everyone. And I do think because our village is really special, and we came together in the space of wanting to do better and to help our families get better and get well. And so I think there could be something really special around a
I
SonRise
think I think you're
festival.
right. I think, I think that could be truly empowering. And actually, I'm even thinking like the 30 days to a more thriving you,
Yes.
that these could be done within your
Sessions
program,
within the program.
yeah,
Absolutely. I think, yes. And working through the workbook together,
yeah,
and guidance.
absolutely.
I would love to, we'll talk about that because
Yeah,
yes, let's make that happen. And then the other thing, I know we're out of time. We're putting together a series of book signing events in March. Tina's book comes out in March. So our intention is to have at least 5 markets where we will go, either in big churches where Tina will sign books, sell books, and sign books at the end of a service. And we are also exploring creating this experience grounded in inner fitness, where we would have multiple speakers talking about different things, similar to what Oprah did a few years ago and has done over time. But Tina would be the anchor of that. And it's creating this shift in our lives. And how do we shift from surviving to thriving? Yes, Tina.
Kelli, we can talk about this, but it
Yes.
just occurs to me that if your community pre-orders the book,
Yes.
then I will do for your community what we just did on the 19th
Yes.
for the inner fitness community, which is, if you pre-order the
Love
book,
it.
then you'll get a 7-card deck that represents the 7 laws of self. But we'll come on, maybe during a weekday or whatever day is the best for your
Find the
community,
right time. Right. We'll
right?
find.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I will do a free, like, ground laying, um like inner fitness 101 kind of,
Amazing.
just for your
Yes,
community,
yes,
and
and
get
please,
all
yes,
of that just for pre-ordering the book.
that's wonderful.
But
And
we would have
yeah,
to get your receipt for that pre-order.
and to mention somewhere. So if you go to um theinnerfitnessproject.com, and I also put the link in the chat, you can pre-order the book there. And Um, your question for Tina, maybe put SonRise in the
Yes,
box.
yes,
So Tina's
yes,
team knows that it came through SonRise, so we can keep our group, and
yes,
create something really special for our SonRise community.
yes. That
It's
that
perfect.
could be fun.
You have a form. So right in the space where it's possible, it says your question for Tina or referral. It says
Oh,
referral.
and you know what, Kelli? We can also, my team can send over something that then you can send to
Amazing.
your group,
That's
and
perfect.
then that
Yeah.
way it'll be more streamlined for
Yeah.
Sun.
Because I do think the circle experience, I think there's so many things. And doing this tour is going to be great. So where we have you in market with
Yeah,
people, many of whom are on this call, hopefully will come and get their book signed.
yeah,
So we could talk for another hour
for
at
sure,
least.
for sure.
You
This has been incredible. Go ahead. I hear someone speaking.
real quick,
Please.
of course, say less. I'm already on the form trying to fill it out, but I don't know what's the difference between the order number and what do you mean by referral and what question. So I'm not really sure what to put in that. And I think that that answer would benefit everyone.
Okay.
On the book form, so when you go
Yeah.
to innerfitnessproject.com in the book, submit your order information. So here's how to get your bonus gift. Pre-order. So I think what you have to do is hit the Amazon to pre-order. At least that's what I'm doing. And
Yeah.
then when it gives you an order number, you copy that over back into the website form.
Oh, okay.
So like I'm pre-ordering right now myself because I'll do it with you in real time. So if I pre-order now and then pay for it, it's going to give me place my order. It's saying it'll be available in March.
Right.
And then it's going to give me an order number, I presume. Yes, there's the order number. Then I click that, I grab that and copy that over.
Got it. Thank you.
I
Yeah.
think that's it.
So when you put the order number in the form, also type in which bookseller. So
Right. For
if
me,
it's
it was
Amazon, yeah.
Amazon.
Mhm.
Mhm. And
Thank
so it has like an order number. It says view orders, but it could be any of those other booksellers. Then I click back and that's my order number right there. And the bookseller, there's a drop down menu, Amazon, Apple Books, etc. And then the number purchase, I just purchased one. And I'm in the referral, I'm putting SonRise.
And if you get 10 or more pre-orders, I will do that 2-hour free session.
2 hours, that's bonanza. Amazing. So that's
Or
awesome.
or shorter,
No, 2 hours is fabulous. And I think, because I think your website says 30 minutes, so that's a bonus. And we'll do something really special with SonRise. And maybe SonRise will host a book signing or a book reading or something of that sort. Not maybe, we will. We'll
Okay.
host a book reading when it comes out. So I am so blessed to have you be a part of my life and our
I feel the
lives
same, Kelli. I feel the
collectively.
same. I do.
And really appreciate this. We just skimmed the surface. So when you read the little book of Big Lies, I've read the book no less than 10 times. I've also listened to it on Audible. It gives me something new every time I read it. So I encourage you to do that. And then more to come from
Yeah.
Tina and from SonRise.
Yeah.
And thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being the light that you are. But most importantly, thank you for doing the work inside of yourself that allows you to be a great leader just by being. Just your
Mm,
permission to yourself gives other people permission to stand in more of who they are. And I
mm,
believe that us doing that
mm.
makes an impact in the world. Each one of us becoming more of who we are makes an impact.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you. One human at a time.
Yeah.
That's what we say at SonRise. We're impacting one person at a time. That's why we're here. If it was one person, 50 people, 5,000 people, we want to impact people's lives. And you are such a huge part of that. So thank you. And I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Vicki Johnson, who's another incredible big sister to me and sister friend. So Dr. Vicki, if you can close us out with a prayer, would really appreciate that.
I was trying to hurry up and finish my order. I just pre-ordered 4 books.
Thank you.
Good morning, Dr.
And I'm
Vicky.
gonna order more. Tina, this was so amazing, so powerful. And I can speak for so many people who are on the call today. This was timely and powerful and impactful. So thank you. And thank you too, Kelli. God, we thank you for another day that you've given to us. For this is the day that you have made, and we choose to rejoice and give you glory. Thank you for the vision of the SonRise Project and the work that Kelli and Dee and their team does every day to help us become better. Thank you for this community, this support call. And Father, today we thank you for Tina. Thank you for inner fitness and the revolution that has begun. Thank you for changing our lives and giving us information, and for the well of wisdom that is Tina Lifford. God, we pray for a supernatural wave of inner fitness across the world. God, thank you that this book will be global, that people will call for Tina to share and teach and come. For this revelation, the illumination that she has shared today is revolutionary. God, thank you for grace to do the work. Thank you for the reminder that we are holy ground. Thank you for the privilege to choose how we navigate our inner fitness and step into our infinite selves. I thank you for every person that is on this call who is listening live. Thank you for those who will listen to the replay. Thank you for this SonRise Project Sunday support call. We don't take it for granted. We thank you for the gift that it is. Thank you for keeping us to this point in 2024, helping us to move forward with grace into 2025. We give you glory, honor, and praise for the opportunity to share space with one another in community. And we honor you. And until we meet again, in your name, Jesus, we pray. Amen. Have a powerful day, everyone. We will see you next week. I love you, Tina.
Oh, I
This
love
was
you
just
too. Thank
so
you for
lush.
that
It was
word.
just yummy.
Yummy is the best word ever, and it was powerful. Vicky is amazing also. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And we'll be back next weekend in the new year, 2025. We're just getting started. Thank you, Tina.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much. It was
everybody.
such an honor.
Thank you. Have a great day, everyone. Happy New Year.